All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. I'm going to drop a link in the chat to start this stream. It should be popping up. And if you want to join the stream, you're more than welcome to join once I'm done presenting. But again, keep that in mind. The link to join if you want to participate in the conversation, it is in the chat. Notice LeBron James. Conference finals begin today for the West. First conference finals game, the first one for the East, is tomorrow. But today, the Denver Nuggets hosting LeBron James and the Lakers. The number 1 seed Nuggets, the number 7 seed Lakers. 1-7. Remember, it was LeBron's 17th season that he won the Lakers their 17th championship. And that was the coronavirus season after Kobe died. And interestingly enough, the conference finals that year were Boston, Miami in the East, and Denver and LA in the West. And as I always talk about, Colorado's the 38th state. Colorado's the 38th state in order of statehood, and in Gematria, Colorado equals 38. LeBron, he set the points record at age 38 this year on the 38th day of the year, scoring 38, breaking a record that stood for 38 years. Funny enough, today's exactly 38 weeks after what would have been Kobe Bryant's birthday, August 23rd, 38. Remember, Kobe had the rape story in Colorado, and then he bought his wife the big diamond ring to make up for it, and then he died exactly 38 weeks after his wife's birthday. Anyhow, number coincidences, if you will. Are these really just coincidences, or is there something more going on here? To bring it to game one, we've been talking about LeBron James. We've been talking about LeBron and him going through Memphis, where Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. So often him and Steph Curry would play on MLK Day. Then after beating Memphis, then he played Steph Curry. The name Stephen or Stephen means crown. And that series began on May 2nd, the anniversary of the publishing of the King James Version of the Bible in 1611. And then on the king's coronation, King Charles III, May 6th, 5-6, that was the day of the Kentucky Derby in Louisville, where Todd Pletcher had the favorite horse in post 5 and post 6, and in post 6 was King's Barnes. And then that same day, D'Angelo Russell of the Lakers got his 56th win with the Lakers. He's played for the Lakers in Minneapolis, the original home of the Lakers in his career, but now he's back with the Lakers. He was there when Kobe was there. Then he was in Minneapolis, then back in LA. Just happened to get his 56th win the day that LeBron became 5-6 at home versus Curry on 5-6, the day of the King's coronation when the last King of England died at age 56. And in Gematria, royal family equals 56. So does coronation. So does Kentucky Derby. So does LA Lakers. Miami Heat 56, advancing at the same time LeBron's old team. But anyway, we've been talking about all these connections with the King. And notice LeBron James comes into the playoffs with an all-time playoff record of 182 and 96. His next playoff win is his 183rd, right? And tonight's game is 183 days after King Charles III's birthday. King Charles III. 183 days after his birthday. If LeBron wins tonight, he gets his 183rd playoff win. They just did this coronation ritual with him. They've been doing all these little tributes to the King. Again, this doesn't mean go bet the house that the Lakers win tonight, because the one King riddle we've seen, there's been one that's failed that we've documented throughout the playoffs so far. We've been doing well with them, but there was one that did not come through, and that was where LeBron could have defeated Steph Curry and made Curry 16-11 versus LeBron in the playoffs all time. 16-11, like the year the King James Bible was published, 16-11. Again, the Kobe Bryant, you guys, this stuff's deep. The Kobe Bryant cartoon where he dies in the helicopter on Comedy Central, that came out on 16/11, the 16th day of the 11th month. And that was just days before Kobe Bryant released the After Death shoe, the Kobe Bryant After Death shoe. And then the season of his death, the Lakers' big acquisition was AD, who played in Kentucky, like where the Derby was on the day of the coronation. How all this stuff's connected, how it's planned long in advance, clearly. How they're breeding man like thoroughbred for the big sports event planned out long in advance. Again, I mean, I'm not making it up. Presidents have been talking about since I was a little child. New World Order. Remember the Superior General, the leader of the Jesuits, the mass shooting in Louisville 149 days after his birthday. He's from Venezuela. And then the 149th Kentucky Derby, Venezuela wins big. New World Order. Churchill Downs. The Jesuits served the Catholic Church. Anyway, the Catholic Church, the fleur de lis, all over the British royal family's crown. The king wears the crown gold. Anyhow, there's huge king rituals today because it's not just LeBron and King Charles. It's the Cannes Film Festival in France and Johnny Depp presenting his new movie where he plays King Louis. And we'll get to how this is so perfect, what a perfect ritual it is, and how it pays tribute to the history of the King of France burning the Knights Templar at the stake. The Templars are the old military order of the Catholic Church. The new military order are the Jesuits, who have the Templar cross in their logo. But anyway, again, LeBron comes in 182 and 96. He can get his 183rd win tonight, exactly 183 days after Charles' birthday. And with regards to 96 losses, notice how where LeBron James is 183. By the way, if you're new here, alphabetic order. The way you get these numerical values is just taking the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. There's also 3 other ciphers based off of that. The reverse alphabetic order, Z is 1 back to A is 26. And then both orders with numerology. If you're new here, all those numbers up on the screen relating to LeBron James. We've talked about him countless times in countless rituals for the last going on decade. And anyhow, tonight, the number that lines up with LeBron is 183. Now, notice if I take away the James part, LeBron is 96. Notice Lakers is 96. Notice Nuggets is 96. Can you think of an NBA player drafted in 96? A huge star who played for the Lakers, who died on the 41st day of the Pope's age at age 41 while traveling from Catholic Mass, synced up with a calendar that's named after the Catholic Church and the Pope. But anyway, Kobe Bryant, of course, was drafted in 96. And again, Kobe had his whole fallout in Colorado. And again, I'm just saying, what are the odds? What are the odds that LeBron would come into this playoff series with the Nuggets, in light of the rituals with the King, in light of the history with Denver and, Kobe? What are the odds that it could all be just like that? And by the way, this website, StatMuse, you can search for a lot of things on here. So you can look at his career playoff record with the Lakers. That's his entire career playoff record with all teams that he's played for. With the Lakers, he's 26 and 13. And remember, we made a big point about this because the day of the coronation, on that day, you had the Lakers get their 26th win over the Warriors in the playoffs. And then Nick Gilbert, the son of the Cavs owner who has the history with LeBron, he died at age 26. And that was right after the death news of Lance Blanks from the NBA, who dropped dead at age 56. But he was the 26th pick of the draft, and he died exactly 26 weeks after his birthday. And notice if you look up Lance Blanks, you can see that the last NBA team he played for was Minneapolis, the original home of the Lakers. And you can see in that season, he averaged 2.6 points. Remember, 26 is a special number. If you guys have not read my first book, Letters and Numbers, Chapter 1 is about why there's 26 letters in the English alphabet and how it connects in this gigantic way. I wrote that book in 2017. And at the end of the chapter, I talk about how Jordan and Bryant had the 26 connection and how important it is to sports and so much more than sports. It's just a huge number, 26. It connects everything. It connects the stars, and we call, athletes stars. We're on a calendar that's based on the sun, the local star. But there's so much to explain about 26. And again, Bryant, 26, dead on the 26th day of the year. But again, this man died, the 26th pick of the draft, exactly 26 weeks after the anniversary of his debut in the NBA, November 2nd. And the next thing you know, Nick Gilbert's dead at 26. And then next thing you know, the Lakers have their 26th win over the Warriors in the playoffs. And it might very well have been home wins in the play. It was either total wins or home wins. But and then LeBron ends up finishing the series with 26 wins. And again, the day of the coronation, the crown, right? Crown, 26. King James, LeBron James, won the only finals for the Cavs on the real King James's birthday, June 19th. And again, in history, King James's son was King Charles. And those who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War were Cavaliers. And, you know, right now in this nation, the media is always trying to get everybody to divide over everything. It's like they're trying to bring back another civil war. And if you don't know, Lincoln, who was killed at age 56, he blamed the Civil War on the Jesuits. Their formal title is Society of Jesus, which is 56. Civil War, funny enough, is also 56. King James Bible, 56. All the 56 rituals have been documented. LA Lakers. Again, huge number in the series. And Nick Gilbert, RIP. Nick Gilbert's name 56, dead on 5'6". News coming on the back of Lance Blank's dead at 56. So you can see age 56, Lance Blank's. 3 days. 3 days. And remember the relationship with 3 and 56. It was King Charles III on 5'6", 356, royal family 56, last king of England dead at 56. But remember, D'Angelo Russell got his 56th total win with the Lakers, and he started that game on 5'6", making 3 3-pointers. He was 3 for 3 from 3 to start the game on 5'6". So, all right, but yeah, again, what are the odds of all this? What are the odds? Again, just the simple question. LeBron comes in 182 and 96 in the playoffs. This big ritual with King Charles in the last round. Now this round, he can get his 183rd win. Here's reason to think that he does do that. The same night that LeBron, here, let me show you something. We're going to go to the website, numberempire.com real quick. You can also do this on Derek's Gematriator calculator. But the number 179, it's the 41st prime number. Prime numbers are those that can only be divided by 1 and 179. 179 is the 41st prime. When LeBron beat Curry, it was 179 days after King Charles' birthday, the 41st prime, and LeBron got his 41st series win. And remember, that's a big number with King. King 41. Also goes with LA 41 and Kobe Bryant dead at 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age and also the 157th day of his own age. But 179, 41st prime, again, exactly 179 days after Charles' birthday, LeBron won his 41st NBA series, the King number, in the same series where you had this big coronation thing on 5'6". And remember, LeBron started that playoff series by getting his 179th playoff series win on the anniversary of the publishing of the King James Bible, and the Lakers also became 4-1 versus Golden State for the year. By the way, Golden State 41. Golden State, gold. Alchemy, the sun, gold. The king wears the crown, gold. By the way, Lakers, who wear the gold and purple like royalty, they're playing the Nuggets, which are named after gold nuggets. You see how gold also has that Gematria 16? This series begins on May 16th. Today's the 136th day of the year, the 16th triangular number. We're going to talk about that relationship with 16 and 136 again when we revisit what happened to the king. But yeah, here's what I want you to see that just happened in the Royals MLB series versus the Brewers. On the same day that LeBron won his 41st series, 179 days after the King's birthday, again, 179 is the 41st prime. On that same day, the Brewers got their 179th win against the Royals. They used to be in the American League, the Brewers, so they played the Royals a number of times. Now they've been moved to the National League. But they got their 179th win versus the Royals, and then 180 days after Charles' birthday, they got their 180th win, and then 181 days after their birthday, they got the 181st win, following Charles' birthday perfectly through the Royals. And remember, when the Royals won the 111th World Series, they beat New York, which also equals 111, and that series ended on November 1st after Matt Harvey's 111th pitch. with Eric Hosmer, who came up to the plate with a 111 batting average for the series. But the Royals beat New York, and the Queen was alive then, and her birthday was April 21st, the 111th day of the year. The Royals, represented by the woman born on the 111th day, win the 111th World Series over New York, the 111 state, where September 11th happened on the day, leaving 111 days left in the year. Remember, then Prince died on the Queen's birthday, which, yeah, it's another huge ritual. And funny enough, when Prince died, I was talking about Johnny Depp. He's back in the headlines right now. So anyhow, all these things can be verified right here. Milwaukee Brewers record versus Kansas City Royals. Notice they're now up to 181 wins. Again, they just got that 181st win 181 days after Charles' birthday, which was Sunday, 2 days ago. And again, they got the 180th win on Saturday, 3 days ago. And 179th win, again, 179 days after his birthday. Getting dyslexic as I count backwards. But yeah, just another 2 rituals. So you had one synced with LeBron in the NBA, and then you had one synced with the Royals and the Royal family again in the MLB at the same time. And to do that ritual with 179, the 41st prime, right after the King's coronation, it makes me want to look more into why do it with the Brewers. That's interesting to me. Again, the Brewers start out in Seattle. They used to be the Seattle Pilots. It's the year of the 119th World Series. Mariners, the only team with a 119 connection in terms of their team name. There's some managers that have a 119 connection. But yeah, it makes me think there's probably something more that I need to know about the city of Milwaukee. You guys, when I was in Milwaukee on the way to New York last year, remember what we were laughing about the huge building that towers over Milwaukee? On the top of the building, it says Catholic Life. Catholic Life up on the big building in Milwaukee, where Marquette is, the big Jesuit school. But yeah, I have a feeling that there's something more to understand with why they did this with the Brewers. So Brewers stayed on 218 losses by sweeping the series, synced up with Charles. That's a special number. Holy Roman Empire 218. They say it folded August 6th, 1806 in history, the 218th day of the year. And just by the way, here's the Royals schedule. You can see they just last played the Brewers. Brewers won games on May 12th, May 13th, May 14th, swept them. And again, 179th, 180th, 181st win. First game was Friday, just like how the Lakers beat the Warriors on Friday. And of course, Kansas City just had the huge Super Bowl ritual. So again, if you think it's all a coincidence as we document it year after year, and so many times I've called these things way before they happened. I mean, I got to hear that in the debate. So again, if you want to join the stream and let us know how sports are totally legitimate and all this stuff is just a huge coincidence, we're going to have that conversation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link one more time to see if we can get some people in here, because right now there's nobody in here. But while I drop the link, I'll go over a few more stories from today's news to remind you this is bigger than sports. And again, the link is in the chat. Let me change the screen here. One moment, bear with me. Okay, we got to switch to another screen. Okay, I think I got the right one. All right. Okay, so let's talk about some other news too. Jamie Foxx, again, who made his name on TV as Jamie King. Want to talk about the story today, the update with him getting rehabilitation in Chicago. The story's all over the place. Pray for Jamie. Things aren't looking good for Jamie. It's real unclear. Family's keeping things tight to all of a sudden, oh, Jamie's been out of the hospital for weeks playing pickleball. Like, wait a minute, what? Weeks ago, I know you guys were saying pray for Jamie. So how's he been out for weeks? But now today, he's still got the medical complication and he's getting help in Chicago. So again, what jumps out about this story? A lot of things. Again, if you've missed the coverage on Jamie Foxx, we pointed out how it happened on April 11th. That was the day of the NBA play-in game. NBA play-in game. And Atlanta won that day where the medical emergency happened. And then LeBron won his play-in game with the big comeback over Minneapolis, the original home of the Lakers. But notice, from April 11th to this update about Chicago, May 16th, it's 35 days later. 35 days later. In Gematria, Chicago equals 35. King James equals 35. Remember, the Warriors just picked up that big 35 and losing Game 6 against LeBron. Again, King James 35. 35 days later, Chicago 35. We'll come back to this Jamie Foxx thing, but just on the point of Kings, actually. Again, Jamie did make his name on TV as Jamie King. Jamie King. But Johnny Depp, on the day of this LeBron James, King Charles thing, you got Johnny Depp kicking off the Cannes Film Festival. It's the 76th Cannes, where it's the 76th NBA anniversary season. And look at this. Johnny Depp is at the tail end of being 59 years old. He'll turn 60 next month on June 9th, but he's 59 right now. This is the 76th Cannes Film Festival. Louis, the name of the king, 76 forwards, 59 in reverse. So he's kicking off the 76th Cannes at the tail end of being 59, playing the part of Louis. And by the way, in history, Louis was a king for a long time. He died in his 59th year as king. And he died in France. Now, this is what really stood out to me about him dying in France. There's a lot of things I want to show here, but this. Today is the 136th day of the year. Baphomet has that Gematria 136. In French history, the king burned the Knights Templar at the stake, the military order of the Catholic Church in France, for worshiping Baphomet, which caused Templars to flee all over Europe. Some became pirates. Stories a lot. Found a stronghold in Switzerland. They're the world's original bankers. The banks are in Switzerland. Historical timelines. But anyway, 136th day of the year. Baphomet, a big part of French history and the Friday the 13th superstition. That's what it comes from. They were burned at the stake Friday the 13th, the Templars. But this 136, where it also factors in, is King Louis XV. He died May 10th, 1774. And then the Pope also died that year on September 22nd, 1774, a span of 136 days. So the king, the Pope, the Catholic Church. Don't forget the last Pope of the Catholic Church who was from France was the 201st Pope. Just like how Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope and the first to live in Suite 201. And again, the Jesuits have the Templar cross in their logo. They're from Paris, France. Templars burned at the stake in France. Okay, so here's what else is crazy about this. There's several things that are interesting, but today this is happening on 64 date numerology, right? It's the kill date for the month, the 6444 date. And the 64 part is, okay, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that's right. Louis XV died at age 64. He died shortly after his 64th birthday. So this film in tribute to him comes out on the kill date with 64 numerology. Back in 1774, he was killed at age 64. And again, what am I always saying? Go back to the 16th century when the Jesuits were created. The calendar was established that we're now on. The language is standardized the way we use it today, the 26-letter English alphabet. Go back to that time period on and just look at history, and you'll see how it all connects. That's what I've been saying forever, over and over. But not only does it connect with the king dying at 64, the Pope, who died right after him, wasn't Pope all that long. He died 64 months after becoming Pope. So, again, you just got to say, what are the odds? What are the odds? And there's even more to this, but I won't drown you in numbers. 76, 59, I'd say those are the top three numbers. Now, this thing about Jamie Foxx, again, him being 55 years old, I got to pull up the Gematriator calculator with this ritual coming 35 days later at the start of another playoff series with the Lakers. Um, Notice King James in Gematria. 35 forwards, 55 in reverse. Jamie Foxx, who began on TV as Jamie King, is 55 years old right now. LeBron's mom is 55 years old right now. Big 35 ritual with Steph Curry that just happened while Curry's 35 years old. Again, LeBron, King James. On and on with the King James rituals. So, Jamie Foxx, today is 35 days after the news broke on April 11th. 35 days later, and now the update is he's in Chicago. In Chicago, that's a city with big NBA history, but also a city with a 35 connection. Again, for the new person here, you guys, you Chicago Bears, you won your only Super Bowl with the revolutionary 4-6 defense. You won it 46-10. Chicago 46. Did it over the Patriots, who eventually gave you Tom Brady, Mr. 46, 199th pick of the draft, 46 prime. Anyway, so yeah, just to be in Chicago with the update 35 days later, NBA storylines, Chicago, Jordan. We know Jordan's son's doing very well right now as playing on the 8 seed Heat. Can take a good look at Jimmy Butler and Michael Jordan. Tell me that's not his son. Man, and if you guys missed what we called about why Miami and Chicago would meet in that play-in, it was just perfect. It was just the most perfect ritual that reminded who's his daddy. But yeah, there's only so many people in the world that have the genetics to be nearly 7 feet tall. Okay. Also in the news today, Priscilla Presley. Remember what happened to her? You had the Golden Globes. The man who portrayed her father, Elvis, wins Best Actor, and then boom, she's dead. And just another perfect ritual. So easy to explain when you know what's going on in the world. And if you guys missed my video when the headline broke that she was hospitalized, I explained why. Don't be surprised if they report that she's dead. But again, her father's first concert. Okay. You see how the word son is 54 in the most simple cipher? Son, 54. Jesuit order, 54. Their logo's the sun. They represent the Catholic Church, a sun cult. And Elvis's first concert was in 54. The Golden Globes this year fell on a date, January 10th, 2023, with 54 numerology, where the actor who portrayed Elvis, who had his first concert in 54, he won it. Golden Globes equals 54 forwards and backwards. And then the daughter Elvis is dead at 54, while the mother is 77, like how Elvis died in the year 77. And so anyhow, here we are now today on Baphomet Day, if you will. And again, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuits. The Jesuits carry on the tradition of the Templars. The Templars were burned at the stake for worshiping Baphomet in France, where the Jesuits were founded, where we're now in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. I know I'm speaking in circles, but it's to make the seeds plant, because it's a lot of information to retain. But once you got it, you got it. For the record, in Gematria, that 54 number we just talked about with Golden Globes, Bavaria is also 54 forwards and backwards. 54. Remember that 135, because May 15th was the 135th day of the year, and we're going to talk about something big in May 15th next. But anyway, you just look at this. Illuminati symbolism all over this. Again, Illuminati goes back to Jesuits, goes back to Templars, all goes back to the church, goes to that Dan Brown novel. And again, it's crazy how Dan Brown turned 56 the year of 2020, where everything was 56. But yeah, she was born in the infamous year 68. So there's more things here that are interesting too. Remember, Kobe's death had a lot to do with 54. The Sunday before Super Bowl 54, his full name, Kobe Bean Bryant, 54. And he died in Calabasas, and then her son committed suicide in Calabasas. And there's some other parallels here as well. But the point is, Illuminati numbers all over this. And I guess two of the dates that just here, another part of the Illuminati is no doubt Yale Skull and Bones. We know that definitively. But it says this part right here. The judge asked for the settlement in the motion to to seal to be filed by June 12th and set another hearing in the case for August 4th. Okay, so June 12th is the day leaving 202 days left in the year. George Herbert Walker Bush, who was the 41st president who was a member of Skull and Bones, was born on that day, June 12th, the day leaving 202 days left in the year. DC area code is 202. His son's birthday is July 6th, 7/6. But anyhow, the two dates they named were June 12th, which has the 202 connection, the day leaving at 202 days left in the year, and August 4th, which is the day leaving 149 days left in the year. So Skull and Bones. 149 is the 35th prime. We were just talking about 35. Again, it all goes back to the Catholic Church. Catholics 35, like Holy See, like Jesuitism, like Baphomet. I like the I on the dollar bill in 35. But yeah, again, just knowing the language and seeing through the rituals and where all these numbers and historical patterns connect back to. You just see how one little sick solar cult, when again, we're on their calendar and essentially speaking their language, all of this traces back to them. So I don't know how it could be really another party doing this. Now remember, May 15th, the 135th day of the year, Farmington, New Mexico, mass shooting on Mercuralia, where everything in the news was Mercury. But by the way, okay, hold on. So yesterday, if you're on my Patreon, I put out the notes for baseball and I said it's Mercuralia and watch for everything Mercury related, and pretty much everything but one thing that was Mercury related came through yesterday. But the first game of the day, well, now you can't tell that it was the first game of the day, but I guess it is at the top. So yeah, the first score of the day in was the Nationals beating the Mets 10-3, right? 10-3 on the day to celebrate Mercury. Mercury's 103. But remember, the congressman that had the baseball bat beating scare, a staffer got it with the baseball bat. That congressman's name equaled 103. And again, I mean, just news and sports. Let me pull this up here. Baseball bat. Gerald Connolly. So Gerald Connolly. So before this game was over, we'd already pointed out earlier in the day, look for the Mercury stuff in baseball. We documented on the website. I got this post from 11:57 a.m. About Mercuralia, this being on his 47th day of his age, and then lo and behold, the baseball game comes in, the first game of the day in the nation's capital, and the score's 10-3. And like I also pointed out, it was the Nationals had 40 games played their 41st game that day. Look at the Gematria Mercury. 40 games played in the 41st game of the year on Mercuralia, the day to celebrate Mercury, 10-3. News and sports. The big script. So this shooting in New Mexico, again, it was the congressman's 47th day of his age, Mercuralia 47, New Mexico's the 47th state, mass shooting in Mercuralia. Now, the day after, they're telling us that the shooter was an 18-year-old Bo Wilson. And remember what just happened here in Washington State is they just changed all these assault weapons. Well, we have a ban in the state. Some other states a number of states are moving the age from 18 to 21. So now they got to emphasize a shooting by the numbers of an 18-year-old shooter when they're trying to boost that age up to 21. Government always has to seem like it's doing something. But look at this. The man who's giving you the story, the man who's giving you the story for this, Deputy Police Chief Kyle Dowdy. Wilson was shooting pretty indiscriminately at houses and cars, and there were no specific targets or motives, Dowdy said. He said investigators have not seen a link between the assailant and the victims. Just another random killing, only possible because of guns. So anyhow, this shooting was on the 135th day of the year, right? The 135th day of the year. And the man in charge of the scene, and again, if you guys are new here, I've been showing the same thing about shooting after shooting in the news, the ones that make the news. Again, I know real shootings happen. In fact, I used to live in a neighborhood, growing up. My sister got her first house not far from there. She ended up moving out of that house when her house became the victim of a drive-by shooting, not because they were targeting her, but because they were targeting somebody that ran through her yard. Anyway, I do know that real shootings happen. I remember my sister's house was all full of bullets, and we were saying what a miracle it was that she wasn't home. But again, that didn't make the news. That didn't make any news on any level, not even the local paper in Oregon. It wasn't even in the Oregonian in Portland, Oregon. Again, these stories that are in the news, they are just always perfectly encoded. So again, the 135th day of the year, Deputy Police Chief Kyle Dowdy, who's on the move up. And who put him in this little town? You know, was he put there by the CIA? We've documented some CIA rituals before with that same number. And this was in the town of Farmington. You know, isn't it amazing how it's just like this day after day? And the thing about paying tribute to the CIA in New Mexico and Mercuralia, again, when was the CIA established? 47. Mercuralia, 47. The 47th state, home of the 47 Roswell incident with the aliens. And again, don't forget the first one was up in Seattle on the Space Needle on the 47th parallel. The first supposed UFO sighting in 47 just before Roswell. Yeah, and then just saying that they found this killer today on the day with the kill. Today has the kill date numerology, and you know this is the mass shooter. His name is Bo Wilson, right? Bo Wilson. You see how Mercury's 40? Bo Wilson is 40, and you know now they get him on Tuesday. Tuesday is also 40. They identify him. But 40 in numerology is 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 is the number associated with death. And they said he was killing people randomly at a place called the Four Corners. At the Four Corners, when we're always talking about 4 and death. Kobe fell to 4th in points scored. When LeBron passed him in his hometown and then he died the next day. Prince died on the Queen's birthday, the year LeBron won with Cleveland in the King James ritual with the Cavs. And then 4 years later, he won his 4th title. And again, Prince died in Minneapolis, where the Lakers are originally from. George Floyd thing on the corner of 38th Street when Minnesota death, murder, killing, RIP. They're all 38 like finals, like Prince is 38. Prince dies, LeBron wins the finals. George Floyd dies on 38th Street, Minnesota. LeBron wins the finals. Now he's age 38. They had to make a point, by the way, Colorado, the 38th state, they had to make a point that this town is just south of the Colorado border. That's part of the description of this shooting, too, in Farmington. So if you missed all yesterday's videos, they're on Gematria Effect News 25 about Mercuralia and all the rituals from why the Weeknd changed his name. The Weeknd's name equals 103. The Weeknd equals 40 and 41 like Mercury. And way more to it. Perfectly synced with his birthday, his age. I mean, again, everything in the news yesterday was Mercuralia. And now, so was the New Mexico shooting. And now more details that confirm, you know, same types of numbers. And reminding you who's pulling the strings. The CIA was created in a huge Jesuit ritual synced with the Pope. September 18th, 47. Yesterday we had the new Rembrandts with the Mercury connections. And we were talking about the price that they were rated at. Now, apparently yesterday there was also Pablo Picasso news. The world, isn't it funny how in the Da Vinci Code they talk about the Catholic Church, Illuminati, art? Then on this day, all of these rituals, and look at the gematria of Pablo Picasso and Mercuralia, 4770. Again, if you watch yesterday's videos, what they did at Camp Lejeune, 70 years after the illegal dumping started that caused so many deaths and illness from whatever they dumped in that water for all those decades. But it had started 70 years earlier. Yesterday, the big ritual of CNN and talking about Camp Lejeune and you know, the disaster from 70 years ago. But Pablo Picasso, 4770. And I didn't even, there's probably something to decode in those headlines. I'll save it for somebody else. But, you know, what was it? The Guardian? The Guardian had to point out that the painting's over 120 years old. And Picasso died on 4/8, Illuminati 120 and 48. And he lived to be pretty old. He was 91 years old. He would have turned 92 later that year. But he also died 201 days from his upcoming birthday for another 201, like Order of Illuminati, like the Jesuit order. 201. Picasso. But yeah, on Mercuralia, all of a sudden, the world of science has discovered something new with an X-ray. It's like, okay, maybe they did, but we see why you saved the news for that day. Again, the ritualistic ruling Illuminati. Okay, also on the news today, did you hear this? Man may hold clue to preventing Alzheimer's. Yesterday, they were talking about how they created Alzheimer's essentially at Camp Lejeune, or how they fueled it. And I should say created it in a lot of people. But now we got this Alzheimer's headline, and it's the 136th day of the year, and this man died at age 74 in Antigua, which equals 136. You know? There's all sorts of things that are so interesting about this, but again, just the news coming on the 136th day of the year, the man dead at 74, big time killing number. RIP to Kobe, dead in the 74th season. RIP to Nate Thurman, dead at 74, 27 days after LeBron dropped 27 on the real King James' birthday, and 1,000 other examples, including 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents dying on 7/4. Again, in gematria equals 74, like killing, like stabbing. Do you remember the stabbing of Caesar to death on the Ides of March, which is the 74th day of the year? Again, just huge numbers. So this man dies at age 74, and it makes me wonder if they spotted something in this guy while he was alive, and we're like, we need to preserve this guy's body right now while we're aware of this. Let's body bag him, tag him, and write some good news stories by the numbers to make the sacrifice well worth it. Jesus hominum salvator. Okay. Yeah, I put up a post today about LeBron and Prince, because it dawned on me how Prince died on the 90th birthday of the Queen, right? And then LeBron goes on to win in the royal family ritual that year, and Cavaliers is 90. The big script. The big script. But yeah, there's a number of things that were interesting to that. Some fateful numbers. Okay. Okay, let's see if we got anybody that entered the room. All right, we got nobody in the room. Well, it wasn't for lack of effort. I was hoping somebody would sign up who, again, just thinks everything's a coincidence. But yeah, we can keep this one short and sweet. We can leave it there, True Seeker. If you got here late, just rewind the video and yeah, catch up on everything you missed out on. I posed the big question at the beginning of the stream with tonight's playoff game, and talked a little bit more about that. Reminded about some things from recent series, and then jumped into some of the other headlines. So let me also double check real quick, make sure, see if there's anybody I need to say thank you to. Well, first of all, I need to say thank you to everyone who's here, who hit the like and the share, and who participated and left a good comment in the chat. And remember, once the video's over, you guys, if you come back and leave a comment, like just anything, it can be one word, it could be an exclamation point, all that stuff. It helps the video do better in the algorithm, find new eyes. So, okay. Doesn't look like we have any thank yous for today in terms of super chat, so that's fine, you guys. Yeah, the super chat thing, it's sketchy, the super chat thing. Sometimes I wonder if the money's even making it here. Thank you to Brian Williams, who sent a 5 on the Cash App. I appreciate that. Shout out to Brian Williams. But yeah, we'll leave it there, you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and until next time, True Seeker.